The Galactic Council chamber was a massive dome of crystalline light. 7 species sat in their designated seats, each representing thousands of worlds. Today's meeting was supposed to be routine. Trade agreements, border disputes, nothing exciting. Ambassador Ixtar from the Vrelnathi Empire stepped forward with his 4 arms folded across his chest. Council members, we have detected unusual energy signatures, Ixtar announced. His voice was steady, but his eye stalks twitched nervously. The readings are at the edge of our space. They are unlike anything in our database. Council Prime Valara, a tall being with silver skin and 3 eyes, waved her hand dismissively. Sensor errors happen all the time, Ambassador. Perhaps a solar flare or a collapsed star? General Thross, the military commander, stood up. His species, the Krell, were warriors covered in thick armor plates. With respect, Council Prime, we should investigate. Unknown energy signatures could mean danger. Several council members laughed. The Drath representative, a floating jellyfish-like creature, spoke through its translator device. Danger? We have not faced a real threat in 3,000 cycles. The galaxy is at peace. Valara nodded slowly. Very well, General. Send a small reconnaissance team. 3 ships should be enough. But do not create panic over sensor ghosts. General Thross saluted and left the chamber. He was not worried. The Council fleet was powerful. They had the best technology, the strongest shields, and the most advanced weapons. Nothing in the galaxy could challenge them. 3 corvettes launched from Council Prime's orbital station. Each ship carried 50 crew members and enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Captain Uriel commanded the lead vessel. He had served in the Council fleet for 40 years and had never seen real combat. This mission seemed like a waste of time. Approaching the coordinates now, his navigator reported. Scanning the area. I am detecting nothing unusual. Captain Uriel leaned back in his chair. As expected? Run a full-spectrum analysis anyway. We need to give the General something for his report. The 3 corvettes moved into a triangle formation. Their sensors swept through space looking for anything out of place. Minutes passed. The crews began to relax. This was just another boring patrol. Then every alarm on every ship started screaming at once. Captain, massive energy surge detected. The sensor officer shouted. Something is decloaking right in front of us. The view screen changed. Where there had been empty space, something appeared. Captain Uriel's mouth fell open. His hands gripped the armrests of his chair so hard, his knuckles turned white. It was a ship. But calling it a ship was like calling a star a candle. The vessel was impossibly massive, stretching across space like a metal mountain. Its hull was dark gray, covered in armor plating thicker than his entire corvette. Weapons batteries lined every surface. Engine ports glowed with barely contained power. Size estimate, Uriel whispered, his voice shaking. Captain, the computer must be wrong. It says the ship is 47 kilometers long. 47 kilometers. The largest Council dreadnought was 8 kilometers. This thing was 6 times bigger. It could carry the entire Council fleet inside its hull with room to spare. All ships retreat, Captain Rill ordered. Get us out of here now. But the massive ship moved faster than should be possible. It appeared in front of them, blocking their escape route. The corvettes tried to maneuver around it, but the giant vessel matched every move with casual ease. They are locking weapons on us. The tactical officer screamed. Captain Uriel closed his eyes. This was how he would die, vaporized by some unknown enemy's superweapon. He reached for the communications panel to send a final message to his family. Then his ship stopped moving. Not because of engine failure. The massive vessel had caught all 3 corvettes in some kind of tractor beam. They were being pulled closer to the giant ship's hull. Unknown vessel, this is Captain Uriel of the Galactic Council. Release us immediately or face the full might of our fleet. No response. The 3 small ships continued moving toward the giant. Captain Uriel could see details on the massive hull now. Strange symbols in a language he did not recognize. Gun ports the size of buildings. Shield emitters powerful enough to protect a planet. His communications officer suddenly shouted, Captain, We are receiving a transmission. Audio only. Put it through. A voice filled the bridge. It was calm, professional, and spoke perfect council standard. But there was something different about it. The accent was strange, the tone unfamiliar. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the UTNS Ragnarok. We apologize for startling your vessels. They are unharmed and will be returned shortly. We request formal diplomatic contact with the Galactic Council. The transmission ended. Captain Uriel sat in stunned silence. UTNS, United Terran Naval, ship, humans, those primitive beings from the Sol system who kept to themselves. They built this monster. The tractor beam released the 3 corvettes. They floated free in space, completely undamaged. The massive ship, the Ragnarok, began moving away. Within seconds, it vanished. Not into FTL, it simply disappeared, as if it had never been there. Captain Uriel immediately sent his report to General Thros. Every piece of sensor data, every recording, every measurement. The general would not believe it. The council would not believe it. But the evidence was clear. Humanity had just announced itself to the galaxy, and they had done it with the largest, most powerful warship anyone had ever seen. Back on Council Prime, General Thros read the report 3 times. His hands trembled slightly as he walked back to the council chamber. The meeting was still in session. Council members were discussing tax rates on imported goods. Council Prime Thros interrupted. We need to hold an emergency session. Immediately. Falara looked annoyed. General, your reconnaissance mission can wait until after we finish our current business. Thros shook his head. No, it cannot. The humans have made contact, and they have brought a ship that makes our entire fleet look like toys. The chamber fell silent. Every council member stared at the general. Humans. Those weak beings who barely had a dozen colonies? Impossible. Request formal diplomatic contact, Thros continued. And they are coming here. To Council Prime? The ship's name is Ragnarok. Ambassador Ixtar pulled up the word's meaning in the human database. His face turned pale. Council Prime, in human mythology, Ragnarok means the end of the world. Part 2. The Titan arrives. The defense fleet around Council Prime mobilized within minutes. 200 warships took defensive positions around the planet. General Thros stood in the command center, watching the tactical display with growing dread. Every admiral in the fleet was asking the same question. How did humans build something so massive without anyone knowing? General, we are detecting an FTL transition, a sensor officer reported. It is the human ship. The Ragnarok dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. Every sensor and telescope immediately focused on it. The images appeared on screens across the command center. Officers gasped. Some stood with mouths open. Others sat down suddenly, their legs no longer able to support them. The ship was even bigger than the report suggested. Its hull was dark and angular, designed for war. Massive engines burned with contained fury. The armor plating was so thick that council weapons would probably bounce off like raindrops. Gun ports covered every surface, thousands of them. This was not just a warship. It was a flying fortress. All ships maintain defensive positions, Thros ordered. His voice was steady, but his hands gripped the console tightly. Do not fire unless fired upon. The Ragnarok moved through the system with surprising grace. Something that large should not be able to maneuver so smoothly. It avoided asteroid fields, adjusted course around patrol routes, and approached Council Prime on a perfect diplomatic trajectory. Whoever was flying that ship knew exactly what they were doing. We are receiving a transmission, General, the communications officer said. Captain Chen requests permission to send a diplomatic shuttle to the surface. Thros looked at Council Prime Valara, who had joined him in the command center. She nodded slowly. Grant permission, but keep weapons locked on that ship. If they try anything, we respond with full force. A small shuttle launched from the Ragnarok's hangar bay. It was sleek and fast, reaching the planet's surface in minutes. Captain Sarah Chen stepped out with 3 other humans. She wore a dark blue uniform with silver rank insignia. Her black hair was pulled back in a practical style. She was tall, moved with confidence, and her eyes missed nothing. Chen and her team were escorted to the council chamber. Every council member was present. They watched the humans with a mixture of curiosity and fear. Chen walked to the center of the room and bowed respectfully. Honored council members, I am Captain Sarah Chen of the United Terran Navy. Thank you for receiving us. Captain Chen, Valara said carefully. Your ship is quite impressive. We were not aware humans possess such technology. Chen smiled, but there was sadness in her eyes. We did not want to build ships like the Ragnarok. We had to. She activated a holographic display. Images filled the air above the council chamber. Earth appeared beautiful and blue, then the moon. Chen's voice became quieter. 200 years ago, an unknown force attacked our system. They destroyed our moon in a single strike. Billions died from the tidal disruptions and debris impacts. We never found out who they is. They vanished as quickly as they came. The council members shifted uncomfortably. They had no record of such an attack. Earth was far from council space. Events there were rarely monitored. That day changed humanity forever, Chen continued. We realized we were alone, vulnerable. If that enemy returned, we would die. So we built ships. Better ships. Stronger ships. The Titan class was our answer to the darkness. Why come here now? Ambassador X-Star asked. You could have remained hidden. Chun's expression turned grim. Because the darkness is coming. And this time, it will not stop at Earth. She changed the holographic display. Data streams appeared, showing council colony worlds. 3 planets on the outer rim. The last communications from each world were marked with red timestamps. These colonies went silent 4 weeks ago, Chen said. Your government assumed communication failures. We investigated. This is what we found. The hologram showed devastation. Planets stripped bare. Cities consumed. No survivors. Not even bodies. Everything was simply gone, as if erased from existence. The Vekir swarm, Chen said quietly. We have been tracking them for 5 years. They are a biological species that consumes everything in their path. They do not negotiate. They do not stop. They only feed and reproduce. General Thross stepped forward aggressively. If this threat is real, why did you not warn us sooner? Chen met his gaze calmly. We tried, General. 7 years ago, we sent diplomatic messages to the Council. We were ignored. 5 years ago, we sent detailed reports about the swarm. They were filed away as primitive human paranoia. 3 years ago, we requested an audience with this council. We were denied. So we stopped asking for permission and started preparing. The chamber fell silent. Several council members looked ashamed. They remembered those messages now. Strange warnings from a species they considered barely worthy of attention. How many ships like the Ragnarok do you have? Valara asked. Currently 1, Chen admitted. We are building 5 more. The Ragnarok represents 50 years of human development and 40% of our total economy. We built it because we had to survive. And you came here to save us? The Dreth representative sounded skeptical. How noble. Chen shook her head. We came here because the swarm does not care about borders. If they consume council space, they will grow stronger. Eventually, they will reach human space. We cannot fight them alone. Neither can you. Together, we might have a chance. Before anyone could respond, alarms sounded throughout the chamber. General Thross's communication device flashed urgent red. He activated it, and his face went pale. Council Prime? We have multiple FTL signatures appearing throughout the system. Thousands of them. They are biological ships. Unknown configuration. Chen closed her eyes briefly. They are here. The swarm found you. The holographic display changed to show the system's tactical overview. Vekir bioships were appearing everywhere. They looked like massive insects crossed with sea creatures. Each one pulsed with organic life. They moved in coordinated swarms, heading directly for Council Prime. The Council Defense Fleet engaged immediately. Energy beams and missiles struck the bioships. Some exploded, but most simply absorbed the damage. Their organic hulls regenerated almost instantly. For every ship destroyed, 3 more appeared. General Thross broadcast on all channels. All ships concentrate fire on the lead vessels. We must break their formation. But it was not working. The swarm ships kept coming. They returned fire with biological weapons that ate through shields and melted armor. Council ships began exploding. The proud fleet that had protected the galaxy for centuries was being torn apart. Thross turned to Captain Chen. His pride was gone, replaced by desperate fear. Captain Chen, we need help. Please. Chen was already moving toward her shuttle. General, have your ships fall back behind my position. The Ragnarok will take point. Follow my tactical commands exactly. We are going to teach these creatures why humans do not give up. She paused at the chamber entrance and looked back at the council. By the way, you should evacuate this building. The swarm does not just attack ships. They will try to land ground forces. This is going to get much worse before it gets better. And she was gone, running to her shuttle. Within minutes, she was back aboard the Ragnarok. The massive ship came to life. Every weapon system charged. Fighters launched from hangar bays. The Titan-class warship moved to place itself between the swarm and council. Prime. General Thross watched from the command center. For the first time in his military career, he felt hope. The humans had come. And they brought their monster to fight monsters? Part 3. The Council's Arrogance. The emergency council session began 3 hours after the swarm retreated. The Ragnarok had driven them back, at least temporarily. But the cost was visible. 70 council ships destroyed. Thousands of crew members dead. The pride of the galaxy had been bloodied by an enemy they did not understand. Captain Chen stood before the council once again. Her uniform was clean, but exhaustion showed in her eyes. She had been on her bridge for 18 hours straight, coordinating the defense and treating the wounded council crews. Captain Chen, the council thanks you for your assistance, Valara began formally. However, we have concerns about your vessel and its capabilities. Chen's expression remained neutral. What concerns Council Prime? The Drath representative floated forward. His transparent body pulsed with agitation. You possess a weapon far more powerful than anything in Council space. This creates an imbalance. How do we know you will not use it against us? Chen took a slow breath. You just watched my crew save your world. We lost 30 fighters protecting your ships. My medical bay is filled with your wounded. And you question our intentions? It is not personal, Captain, Ambassador X-Star said gently. But you must understand. The Council has maintained peace through balanced power. Your ship disrupts that balance. General Thross stood up. Chen noticed he looked different. Less arrogant. More uncertain. The Council proposes the following. You will provide us with the Ragnarok's technical specifications. You will agree not to build additional Titan-class vessels. And you will place your ship under Joint Council and Terran Command. Chen stared at him in disbelief. General, are you serious? My people spent 50 years and bankrupted ourselves building the Ragnarok. We did it to survive. And you want us to give up our only real defense and stop building more? It is for the greater good, the Drath said. One such ship is enough. Under Council supervision, of course. Chen repeated quietly. Her hands were clenched into fists at her sides. Let me make something very clear. We did not come here for permission. We came to warn you. The swarm is real. It is coming. And you are not ready. Perhaps you fabricated this threat, another council member suggested. To justify your military buildup? To intimidate us into submission. Chen laughed, but there was no humor in it. You think we destroyed our own economy, sacrificed our resources, and built the Ragnarok as some elaborate trick? Counselor, 3 of your colonies are gone. Billions of your citizens are dead. How much evidence do you need? We have only your word that the swarm was responsible, the Drath argued. Perhaps pirates, or a natural disaster. Chen activated her datapad, then explained these readings. Biological energy signatures identical to the ships that attacked you today. Found at all 3 colony sites. Tissue samples recovered from debris. DNA that matches nothing in any database. The swarm is real, and your denial will kill you. Valara raised her hand for silence. Captain Chen, the Council will deliberate on these matters. In the meantime, we request that the Ragnarok remain in orbit. For our protection? How generous of you, Chen said coldly. To allow us to protect you while you debate whether we are the enemy. She turned to leave, then stopped. You know what the saddest part is? We studied your history before coming here. The Council was built on cooperation. Different species working together, sharing knowledge, protecting each other. But you have been comfortable for so long that you forgot what cooperation really means. It means trusting your allies even when they are stronger than you. Chen walked out of the chamber. Ambassador Ixtar followed her into the corridor. Captain, please wait. She turned, her face tired. Ambassador, I am too exhausted to deal with more accusations. I believe you, Ixtar said quietly. About the swarm. About everything. Not everyone on the Council is blind to the truth. But enough are, Chen replied. Enough to waste time we do not have. Ixtar nodded sadly. The Council has not fought a real war in 800 cycles. We have forgotten how. Our military exists mainly for show. General Thras has never commanded ships in actual combat before today. I noticed, Chen said. His tactical formations were outdated by about 3 centuries. He sent ships in straight lines against an enemy that swarms. It was a massacre waiting to happen. How did humans learn to fight so well? Ixtar asked. Your species has been spacefaring for barely 400 years. Chen's eyes became distant. Because we had to. When that unknown enemy destroyed our moon, we realized something. The galaxy is dangerous. Beautiful, but dangerous. We could not rely on anyone else to protect us. So we studied every war, every battle, every tactical mistake in recorded history. We learned from everyone's failures. And we trained. Every day. Every year. For 2 centuries, she gestured. Toward the Ragnarok, visible through the corridor's windows. That ship represents the best of human engineering and the worst of our fears. We built it because we never want to be helpless again. But we did not build it to conquer. We built it to survive. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. Ixtar's communication device activated. His face fell as he read the message. More colonies are under attack. 5, this time. All in different sectors. The swarm is spreading, Chen said. Faster than my projections suggested. Back in the Council chamber, General Thras was mobilizing the remaining defense fleet. But he looked uncertain. The clean formations and parade ground tactics he knew were useless against the swarm's chaotic assault patterns. Chen's communication badge chirped. Captain, this is Commander Williams aboard the Ragnarok. We are picking up distress calls from multiple Council worlds. The swarm is attacking simultaneously across 100 light years. They're smarter than we thought, Chen said. This is not random feeding. This is coordinated strategy. They are trying to overwhelm the Council's response capability. She opened a channel to General Thras. General, you need to abandon your defensive formations. The swarm does not care about territory. They want to spread you thin, make you divide your forces. Concentrate everything around Council Prime and the core worlds. Let the outer colonies evacuate 2 defensive positions. Thras's image appeared and he looked lost. Captain, I cannot simply abandon colonies. The Council would never approve. Then the Council will die along with those colonies, Chen said bluntly. General, I am not trying to take over your fleet. But I have fought the swarm before. You have not. Trust me. Consolidate your forces or lose everything trying to defend scattered positions. Thras was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded slowly. What do you need from us, Captain? Follow the Ragnarok's tactical commands. My AI can coordinate your ships better than any individual commander. It has analyzed the swarm's attack patterns and can predict their movements. In general, tell your ships to stop firing energy weapons. The swarm absorbs that. Use kinetic weapons. Missiles. Railguns. Anything physical? Understood. Thras began issuing new orders to the fleet. Chen turned back to Ambassador Ixtar. I hope you are right about some council members believing me, because we are about to find out if the council can change quickly enough to survive. The Ragnarok powered up its engines. Fighter wings launched from the hangar bays. The massive ship positioned itself at the system's edge, ready to intercept the next wave of swarm vessels. On Council Prime, citizens watched the skies nervously. The unthinkable had happened. Their perfect, peaceful galaxy was at war, and their only real defender was a human ship commanded by a species they had ignored for centuries. General Thros stood in the command center, watching the Ragnarok on his displays. The human ship was alone at the system's edge, waiting for an enemy that numbered in the thousands. It should have looked suicidal. Instead, it looked defiant. All ships, Thros broadcast, move to support the Ragnarok. Follow Captain Chen's coordinates exactly. Today, we fight alongside humanity. Let us pray we are worthy of such allies. Part 4. The Ragnarok Unleashed. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Ragnarok, watching the tactical display with calm focus. Red dots representing swarm bioships were appearing across the screen. Thousands of them. Maybe tens of thousands. The largest swarm concentration humanity had ever encountered. All stations. Battle stations, Chen ordered. Her voice carried through every corridor of the massive ship. This is what we built her for. Launch all fighter wings. Charge the primary cannons. Engineering, I need maximum power to forward shields. Commander Williams, her executive officer, moved through the bridge with practiced efficiency. Fighters away, Captain. 200 interceptors launching now. Point defense systems online. Railguns charging. The Council defense fleet was forming up behind the Ragnarok. 130 ships, all that remained of the proud force that had protected the galaxy. General Thros's flagship took position directly behind Chen's vessel. Captain Chen, General Thros here. My fleet is ready. We will follow your commands. Chen opened a fleet-wide channel. All Council ships, this is Captain Chen. Today you fought bravely, but you fought alone. Now we fight together. My tactical AI will send targeting data to each of your ships. Fire only when commanded. Move only when directed. Trust the system, and we will survive this. The swarm arrived like a wave of darkness. Bioships of every size filled the space between stars. Some were small, fast-attack vessels covered in organic weapons. Others were massive carrier organisms that birthed smaller ships from internal cavities. At the center was the largest bioship Chen had ever seen. 15 kilometers of living nightmares, pulsing with hostile intelligence. That is the command vessel, Chen said quietly. Kill that, and the rest lose coordination. But getting to it will cost us everything. The swarm charged forward. The Ragnarok opened fire. Point defense cannons created a wall of tungsten projectiles. Each gun fired 3,000 rounds per minute. Hundreds of guns fired simultaneously. The space between the Ragnarok and the swarm became a metal storm. Swarm ships exploded by the dozens. Organic matter vaporized under the kinetic impacts. But for every ship destroyed, 3 more took its place. They came from every angle, trying to overwhelm the human vessel through sheer numbers. Forward shields at 70%, Williams reported. They are concentrating fire on our bow. It's expected, Chen said. Redirect power from rear shields to forward. Launch missile pods Alpha through Delta. Target the carrier organisms. Council fleet, begin firing on my mark. The tactical AI sent targeting solutions to every Council ship. Each vessel received specific coordinates, specific timing, specific targets. The AI had calculated the perfect firing pattern to maximize damage while minimizing waste. Mark, the combined fleet opened fire as one. Energy beams and kinetic weapons struck the swarm formation in a choreographed dance of destruction. The results were immediate. Entire sections of the swarm collapsed as their support vessels exploded. The attack wave faltered. All ships advance, Chen commanded. Maintain formation. Do not break ranks. The Ragnarok moved forward like a fortress with engines. Council ships stayed tight behind it, using the massive vessel's shields as cover. The formation pushed into the swarm like a spear through flesh. Swarm bioships tried to surround them. The Ragnarok's side-mounted weapons activated. Railguns fired building-sized projectiles that punched through multiple enemy ships. Each shot created a tunnel of destruction through the swarm formation. General Thros watched in awe from his bridge. How is she doing this? She is coordinating over 100 ships simultaneously while fighting thousands of enemies. His tactical officer shook his head. Sir, the human AI is processing combat data faster than our entire command network. It is predicting swarm movements before they happen. And Captain Chen is modifying the AI's suggestions in real time based on intuition. I have never seen anything like it. A group of swarm ships broke through the formation's right flank. They headed straight for a council destroyer that had fallen slightly behind. The destroyer's captain broadcast desperately. This is the Valiant Dawn. We cannot hold them off. Valiant Dawn, hold position. Chen's voice came through clearly. Help is coming. 20 Ragnarok fighters broke formation and intercepted the swarm ships. The small craft moved with impossible precision, targeting weak points in the bioship's organic armor. The swarm vessels exploded, one by one. The fighters then escorted the Valiant Dawn back into formation before returning to their patrol routes. Thank you, Ragnarok, the Valiant Dawn's captain transmitted. We owe you our lives. No thanks needed, Chen replied. We all go home together, or not at all. The battle continued for hours. The Ragnarok's hull absorbed incredible punishment. Biological weapons ate through armor plating. Acid sprays burned across the hull. Boarding pods tried to penetrate the ship. But the Ragnarok's defenses held. Internal security teams fought off boarding attempts. Damage control crews sealed hull breaches. The ship refused to die. Captain Power Core at 60%, the chief engineer reported. We cannot maintain this intensity forever. Chen studied the tactical display. The swarm command vessel was still at the center of the formation, protected by thousands of bioships. Getting to it seemed impossible. But if they retreated now, the swarm would pursue. They would destroy Council Prime. Billions would die. Commander Williams, plot a course directly through the swarm formation. Straight line to the command vessel. Williams turned pale. Captain, that would take us through the densest concentration of enemy ships. We would be surrounded completely. I know, Chen said calmly. But look at the formation pattern. The swarm is protecting that command vessel. They know it is their weakness. If we run, they will chase us, and we will die slowly. If we attack, they will converge on us and expose Council Prime to the fleet. But if we charge directly at their heart, they will panic. They will pull everything back to defend it. That gives the Council fleet a chance to break through from behind. It is a suicide run, Williams said quietly. Only if we fail, Chen smiled grimly. And I did not spend 50 years building this ship just to give up now. Send the plan to General Thros. If we break through, they need to be ready to follow. Chen activated the fleet-wide channel. All Council ships, this is Captain Chen. The Ragnarok is about to do something very stupid. When we do, you will have a brief window to strike the command vessel from a different angle. Do not waste it. Do not hesitate. And do not try to follow us. This is our fight. Before anyone could respond, Chen gave the order. All power to forward shields and engines. Maximum acceleration. Weapons free. All fighters returned to base. The Ragnarok charged forward like an arrow released from a bow. The massive ship accelerated to speeds that should have torn it apart. It crashed into the swarm formation with pure momentum. Scattering bioships like leaves in a storm, every weapon on the Ragnarok fired simultaneously. The ship became a sphere of destruction moving through enemy space. Swarm ships exploded by the hundreds. The command vessel tried to retreat, but the Ragnarok was too fast, too determined. Forward shields at 30%, Williams reported. The bridge shook from impacts. Hull breaches on decks 15 through 20. Casualties reported in Engineering Section 3. Hold course, Chen commanded. We are almost through. The swarm realized what was happening. Every bioship in the system began converging on the Ragnarok. They abandoned their attacks on Council ships. They ignored the vulnerable planet below. Everything focused on stopping the human vessel. General Thros saw his opportunity. All ships target the command vessel now. Pour everything we have into it. The Council fleet struck from an unexpected angle. Without the swarm's coordination, they were able to concentrate fire. Missiles and energy beams hammered the command vessel's exposed flank. The Ragnarok reached point-blank range with the command vessel. Chun's face was set with determination. Target the command vessel's central mass. Fire everything. The Titan-class ship unleashed its full arsenal. Every railgun, every missile tube, every energy weapon. At point-blank range, nothing could withstand that firepower. The command vessel's biological armor cracked, then shattered. Internal explosions tore through the massive organism. "Captain, power core critical," the engineer screamed. "We need to shut down now, or we will overload." Chen looked at the tactical display. The command vessel was dying, but not dead. If it survived, it would regenerate. The swarm would regroup. This chance would be wasted. She made her decision. Part 5. A new alliance, Captain. Sarah Chen's hand hovered over the emergency power release. One button. Press it, and every reserve, every backup system, every last ounce of power in the Ragnarok would channel into the weapons. The ship might survive. It might not. "Captain, we should retreat," Commander Williams said urgently. "We have done enough. The Council fleet can finish it." Chen watched the command vessel on her screen. It was wounded, but regenerating. Already, new armor was growing across the damaged sections. In 10 minutes, it would be whole again. The swarm would reorganize. The battle would start over. "No," Chen said firmly. "We end this now. All hands, brace for impact. Emergency power to weapons." She pressed the button. The Ragnarok shuddered as every system redirected power. The lights dimmed. Life support switched to minimum levels. Even the artificial gravity flickered, but the weapons charged 2 levels never tested before. "This is the captain," Chen spoke calmly over the ship-wide channel. "It has been an honor serving with you all. If we do not make it through this, know that you saved billions of lives today. Humanity will remember." She did not say goodbye. She did not need to. Her crew knew what they had signed up for. They were the generation that rebuilt after Earth's moon was destroyed. They understood sacrifice. Fire. The Ragnarok released everything. Every railgun fired simultaneously, the recoil actually pushing the massive ship backward. Missiles launched in waves hundreds per second. Energy weapons burned so bright, they turned the surrounding space white. The combined firepower was equal to a small star-going supernova. The swarm command vessel never had a chance. The concentrated fire tore through its regenerating armor like paper. The biological mass inside exploded outward. The creature that had controlled thousands of ships across dozens of star systems died in a flash of organic matter and chemical fires. The effect on the swarm was immediate. Without the command vessel's coordination, the bioships became confused. They stopped attacking in formation. Some fled, others attacked each other. The organized threat became a scattered mess. "All Council ships, finish them off," General Thros ordered. His voice was filled with hope for the first time in days. "Do not let any escape." The Council fleet moved through the disorganized swarm like farmers harvesting crops. Bioships exploded under concentrated fire. Within an hour, the space around Council Prime was clear. The swarm was destroyed. On the Ragnarok's bridge, alarms were screaming. The ship was in bad shape. "Power core at 5%, the engineer reported. "Emergency shutdown in progress. Hull breaches on 43 decks. We have casualties in medical. And Captain, we are venting atmosphere from the port side." "Seal what you can," Chen ordered. "Focus on keeping people alive. The ship can be repaired." Commander Williams smiled wearily. We did it, Captain. We actually did it. Chen nodded slowly. We did. But the cost was high. Get me a damage report as soon as possible. And someone tell the Council we could use some assistance with repairs. Help came quickly. Council repair ships swarmed around the Ragnarok, sealing hull breaches and providing emergency power. Medical teams transported to help with the wounded. Engineering crews offered technical support. General Thros himself came aboard the Ragnarok 2 hours later. He walked through corridors scorched by biological weapons. He saw crew members exhausted but still working to save their ship. He passed by the medical bay, where wounded from both human and Council species received treatment side by side. Chen met him at the bridge entrance. She had not slept in 30 hours. Her uniform was torn and stained with blood from helping in medical, but she stood straight and saluted. General Thros. Welcome aboard. Thros returned the salute. Then, to Chen's surprise, he bowed deeply. Captain Chen, I was wrong about you, about humanity. You could have left us to die. You could have saved your ship and your crew, but you stayed. You fought. You sacrificed everything to protect people who questioned your intentions. Chen helped him straighten. General, we came here to help. That does not change based on whether people believe us or not. How did humans become so wise? Thros asked quietly. We are not wise, Chen replied. We are scared. When that enemy destroyed our moon, we realized something important. Being strong is not enough. Being right is not enough. What matters is being there when you are needed, even when it is hard, especially when it is hard. Council Prime Valara arrived on the Ragnarok that evening. She walked through the damaged ship with growing shame. These humans had nearly died protecting her world. She had accused them of fabrication. Chen met her in the observation deck, which had a view of Council Prime below. The planet was safe. Cities were lit up. Billions of lives continued because of the Ragnarok stand. Captain Chen, I owe you an apology, Valara began. We should have listened. We should have believed. Our arrogance nearly cost us everything. You did what you thought was right, Chen said without anger. The Council was built on peace. You forgot how to recognize when that peace was threatened. But you learned. You adapted. That is what matters. The Council wishes to offer humanity full membership, Valara said, with all rights and privileges. We will also vote to grant emergency powers for ship construction. Build as many Titan-class vessels as you need. The galaxy needs more ships like the Ragnarok. And more importantly, the galaxy needs to remember why ships like this exist, Chen added. Not for conquest. Not for intimidation. For protection. For standing between the darkness and those who cannot protect themselves. Ambassador Exstar joined them in the observation deck. Captain, there is something you should know. General Thros has requested reassignment. He wishes to train under human commanders to learn your tactical methods. Chen raised her eyebrows. That is quite a change. Is not the only one, Exstar continued. 17 council officers have made similar requests. You showed us that we had forgotten how to really fight. Now we want to remember. Over the following months, Council space underwent massive changes. Human engineers helped design new ship classes, incorporating lessons from the Ragnarok. Council species shared their shield technology and weapons research. Together, they built something neither could have achieved alone. 5 more Titan-class warships arrived from human space. The Odin, the Thor, the Valkyrie, the Baldur, the Freya, each commanded by a human captain trained by Chen herself. But they were not pure human vessels. Each carried mixed crews. With Council species and humans working together, the combined fleet patrolled the border regions, hunting remaining swarm pockets. They saved 17 colonies that would have been lost. They evacuated 3 million people from worlds under attack, and they did it together. 1 year after the Battle of Council Prime, a ceremony was held. Captain Sarah Chen was offered promotion to Grand Admiral of the combined fleet. She declined. I am a ship captain, she explained. That is what I do best. Let me train the next generation. Let me show them that strength without wisdom is just violence, and wisdom without strength is just words. You need both. Instead, she accepted the role of fleet tactical advisor. She spent her time traveling between human and council space, teaching officers from all species how to fight, how to think, and how to lead. General Thros. Now Admiral Thros commanded the second Titan-class vessel built by council species. It was named the Unity, and it carried a crew from all 7 founding species, plus humans. On its maiden voyage, Thros found Chen on the Unity's observation deck. Captain Chen, I wanted to thank you again for everything. Chen smiled. Admiral Thros, you are commanding a Titan-class warship. I think you have learned well. I learned more than tactics, Thros said. I learned that true strength is not about having the biggest weapons. It is about knowing when to use them and when to hold back. It is about protecting those weaker than yourself, not dominating them. The galaxy is changing, Chen observed. When we first arrived, you saw the Ragnarok as a threat. Now you see it as a guardian. That change in perspective is what will save us all. Years later, historians would mark the Battle of Council Prime as the turning point. The day humanity and the Galactic Council stopped being separate entities and became true allies. The day the galaxy remembered that peace is not the absence of weapons, but the willingness to use them only in defense of life. Captain Sarah Chen eventually retired after training 3 generations of officers. She returned to Earth, where a memorial had been built for those lost when the moon was destroyed. She stood before it, remembering the fear and pain of that day, but she also remembered what came after, how humanity turned tragedy into determination, how they built ships, not for revenge, but for protection, how they reached out to the galaxy not with demands, with offers of help. A young officer approached her, a hybrid human Vrailnethi, with Chen's tactical brilliance and X-Star's diplomatic wisdom. Captain Chen, the new Titan-class warships are ready for their trials. Will you inspect them? Chen looked up at the sky, where dozens of massive ships orbited Earth, human ships, council ships, and joint vessels, all built with one purpose, to ensure no world ever suffered what Earth suffered, to stand as guardians against the darkness. Yes, she said quietly. Let us make sure they are ready. The galaxy is a dangerous place, but it is also beautiful, and it is worth protecting. She walked toward the shuttle that would take her to orbit, leaving the memorial behind. The names of the dead remained carved in stone, a reminder of the cost of being unprepared. But above, in the sky, the ships waited. Silent guardians. Titan-class protectors. Built not from arrogance, but from the hard lesson that strength and compassion must walk together. Humanity had shown the galaxy that being powerful was not about making others fear you. It was about making others feel safe. And in doing so, they had created something no one expected, a true alliance based not on treaties or laws, but on mutual respect and shared sacrifice. The Ragnarok still patrolled council space, its hull scarred from 100 battles. It was a monument to what could be achieved when species stopped competing and started cooperating. And at night, when young people across the galaxy looked up at the stars, they saw those massive ships and felt safe because they knew someone was watching, someone who would fight for them, someone who understood that the greatest strength was not in taking, but in protecting. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy, and the galaxy would never forget.